Hi, my love. Welcome to the Godly Femme podcast. My name is Jumoke Win, and here we discuss all things Christian hypergamy, leveling up, and godly femininity. Check us out at godlyfemme.com. So, are you a concubine? Probably, but let's find out. So, short story long, if you're a woman who you have dated in the past, and maybe you've gotten hurt, maybe you're afraid of rejection, maybe it didn't work out with one particular man, and you have not been actively positioned on the dating market. There's a difference between being passively being put on the dating market and actively talking to men, putting yourself in the market for marriage versus just expecting someone to come and save you. Right? So if you are someone who has had a failed relationship in the past and that rejection and that fear of being rejected holds you back from dating, then you are probably a concubine. And I know that sounds very like, Jim, okay, how can you say that? But first, let's discuss what is a concubine. The dictionary definition says a concubine is a woman who lives with a man who's unmarried. So right there, a lot of women, even in this generation, are considered concubines. Women who shack up with a man, sleep with a man, are committed to men in their hearts or physically, and they have their loyalty to one particular man without a title of a wife. Okay? If you're not married, it doesn't matter if he says he's going to marry you. It doesn't matter if you're like, oh yeah, one day. If you're living with a man, okay, if you're in a long-term committed relationship with a man, all right, and you have committed to him, and you're committed in his heart, and you're waiting it out for him to choose you, then yes, you are a concubine. If a man does not formally say that he is your husband, ask you to be his wife, and you both are formally married, but you are committed to a man, you are a concubine. Now, that is the physical side of being a concubine, right? Most women, again, long-term girlfriend, I talk about don't be a foster girlfriend. A foster girlfriend is a concubine, okay? But what about the women who are like, oh, but I'm not in a relationship. Am I a concubine? And the answer is yes. Yes, you are. And this is a revelation I came to in the beginning of this year. And trust me, this is something I had to break free of as well. But if you were in a relationship if you're in a relationship or a situationship or even, relationship or situationship that did not progress forward and you guys broke up, and because your heart was so shattered, you took yourself off the dating market to quote unquote heal, right? And some of you have been healing for 5-10 years. Some women, and again, a lot of women won't tell you this. This is why I really want to educate the younger viewers of how this looks and how this can become, because older women are not going to tell you that they're sitting around and, oh, I don't want to be rejected anymore because I went through a really bad breakup, right? So if you're someone who you went through a bad breakup and you're like, oh, I need to heal, and you take yourself off the dating market, you stop entertaining men, right? With the purpose of marriage, you stop dating men, you take yourself off the dating market, you have now joined a man's harem. What is a harem? A harem is a group of women that belong to a man, right? Solomon had 1,000 wives and concubines. They were part of his harem, okay? When we look in the book of Esther, a lot of people try to romanticize Esther, but it was not a romantic book by any stretch of the imagination. It was really a bit sad, but since we don't understand the cultural references, we don't get it. Esther was an orphan girl who was taken away to a beauty pageant, essentially, because she was a virgin. Now, you have to understand the implications of all of this, that Xerxes, King Xerxes, was a pagan king, okay? He wasn't this righteous, noble king, whatever, no. I'm not going to get too deep into the book of Esther because I can talk about that for a long time, but I want to emphasize this point, that the women were taken in, the virgin women were taken into King Xerxes' harem. When they said, hey, we're going to go to King Xerxes to see who he's going to pick to be queen, the implication is that all of them slept with Xerxes. Okay? Can you imagine? Esther, is next, and it's like she's seeing women coming out the room But here's the thing that I want to emphasize so that you guys can really understand this whole concubinage thing. If they went to have sex with King Xerxes and he was not pleased with them enough to marry them, to make that woman queen, that woman becomes a concubine. She joins his harem. Do you think that after he sleeps with her, he's like, oh yeah, you can go ahead and go and marry? No, you basically live your life as a widow, right? You live your life as a widow, just trapped up in a palace because the women could not talk to anyone, only eunuchs. They could not talk to any other man for the rest of their lives. And this is how some of you look. You give your heart to a man, he breaks your heart, and then you sit here and be like, oh, I don't want to talk to men anymore, and I'm not going to put myself out there because I don't want to be rejected. Ooh. But by doing that, by actively, right, trying to prevent yourself from feeling rejection and not being proactive about your own love story, you have joined a man's harem. Because now you are committed to him. You're living your life as a widow, not entertaining any man ever again. Don't be a man's concubine. Okay? This is why I keep warning you women about the whole girlfriend trap and being a foster girlfriend. Position yourself as a wife and not a girlfriend. A girlfriend is a concubine, right? Don't be a concubine. Don't be a concubine. When I met my husband, he knew I was very clear. I'm like, I'm a wife, not a girlfriend, right? I really didn't care about the whole relationship thing. I'm like, this is stupid. Truly, right? I always said this is something I want you ladies to adopt. I am not 100 guys' girlfriends. I am one man's wife. You are one man's wife. Really resolve in your mind that you're only going to be married once in this lifetime. Don't give your heart, your body, and essentially your time and your youth to men who are not deserving of it and men who will not even make you a wife. If a man has not made you his wife, why are you giving him more of your youth? Why are you wasting your youth being single because a man rejected you? I get it. Oh yeah, you went through a breakup. It was hard, go cry, but you are at your prime. I really wish I did not spend 6 years single, sitting here thinking my ex was going to come back to me. That's a lot of time wasted. I could have been married in those 6 years. I could have moved on with my life. But no, this is me, thinking, oh yeah, well maybe because, he's going to marry me one day. No, if he hasn't, then he hasn't. if he has not agreed to be my husband, then he's not my husband. Same thing with my husband when we were dating. I'm like, look, I ain't nobody's girlfriend, right? My husband and I, we went from dating to married. No breaks in between. My husband knew from the jump I presented myself as a wife. My standard is that I'm a wife. I am not a lower concubine. You ain't gonna treat me like no concubine and use up all my time and resources and energy for free 99. And I can't even get your last name. I can't even get covering. I can't even get provision. Absolutely not. So, ladies, if you were convicted by this podcast, it's okay, right? Just let it go, right? Let it go. Resolve in your mind that, you know what, God has created me to be a wife, not a concubine. I refuse to be a man's concubine. I refuse to give my heart away before a man has made me his. Amen? Amen. Thank you so much for listening to the Godly Femme podcast. If you would like more help in your femininity journey, make sure that you do sign up for our 7-day Godly Femininity Challenge, and also that you join our free Facebook mentorship group, Black Hypergamous Christian Women. All the details are in the description.